You're now listening to a new episode of Gratitude Through Hard Times. Gratitude instills humility. Gratitude removes the ego. Gratitude helps empower the best in others around you. Our goal is to guide individuals and companies to practice gratitude so you can live a longer, happier, and more successful life. Get ahead of life with connection and purpose. This is Gratitude Through Hard Times with Schembra.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Gratitude Through Hard Times. It's your host, Schembra, and today it's a beautiful fall day in New York City. It's actually Yom Kippur, and tonight I'm going to a pizza competition for breakfast. So I'm excited to be bringing this episode at a time where I'm kind of hungry, and I'm talking to a wonderful person who's all about food and spice and family. So I'm already hungry recording this episode right now. It's good to see you all. To the loyal listeners of this podcast, welcome back. You know, my favorite moments throughout the week are when you email in your thoughts, questions, comments, and concerns of today's episode guest. I thank you for being part of our journey for the last 6 years. And gosh golly, if we were in person, I'd welcome you to my dinner table, and I'd give you a bowl of pasta sauce, and I'd give you a big old hug. So it's good to see you, friend. Thanks for coming back. To all the new listeners out there, welcome. It's nice to meet you. I don't know how you stumbled upon our humble little corner of the internet, but it's good to see you. Maybe you Googled today's guest, or maybe a friend sent it to you to show that they care. If you go back through our podcast episode archive, you'll see our 6-year commitment to bringing on some of the world's great leaders to share the stories of how they've built the companies they've built, or how they've become the people that they've become by doing life the right way, a human-centered way, a way with family and friends and community, and achieve great success along the way. I'm going to invite you to join our journey later on in the podcast. We're going to invite you to click that subscribe button and join us along for the ride. But without further ado, I'd like to welcome and introduce you to today's episode guest, my friend Kirti Naik. We met 2.5 years ago through my friend Karen from down in Washington, D.C., and we got to partner and collaborate on a bunch of wonderful things for her and her husband Greg's life, their podcast, their event series, and all the beautiful community that they've built here in New York City. Kirti is a multifaceted person, and today we're talking about the life side of Kirti. On the business side, you can read about her bio in the show notes below. She's done a lot of things. She's a force of creative vision in the world of finance, media, and brand storytelling. Currently, she's the global head of brand experience at a big company, Neuberger Berman. She leads bold campaigns. She invents festivals and digital media experiences, and she crafts narratives that bridge the gap between investor education and emotional resonance. I just start that off by saying she's been at the top of her game in the world of finance for a long time. But we're not talking about any of that today. Today, we're talking about Kirti, the co-host and producer of the Got Spice podcast with her husband, Greg, where she brings real talks and vulnerability and perspectives about conversations about love and life and purpose. We talk about Kirti, the daughter, on a special day in the Hindu tradition leading up to Diwali. We talk about what are the stories on her heart and in her life that she's not told to the world yet. She's a storyteller, just like you and I. We're going to get into some of those today. So without further ado, from my heart to yours, Kirti, welcome to the podcast.
Oh my God, I should have you introduce me anywhere I go. Like you made me feel better about myself.
Tell me about that.
Um, I think I'm probably my worst critic. Uh, I can probably go back to anything I do or deliver and find faults in it. So when you have like a third unbiased party just describe your life the way you just did, it's very humbling, and it also makes me feel old. I'm like, damn, have I been around that long?
Humbling. That's a great word.
It is a good word. I think I've always been drawn to people who tend to, I think, have that innate character of being humble. I would say most of my close friends, family that I choose to spend time with, they're not the ones that are boastful or arrogant or kind of throw in your face how awesome they are. They have that kind of DNA, where I think we're just kind of like not, I don't want to say we're drawn back, but that humility that, kind of comes through when you're humble.
Mm-hmm. The first play I ever produced in New York City was about a great man named Fiorello LaGuardia, former mayor of New York City, 3-term mayor, 7-term congressman, spoke 8 languages, had 7 secretaries. He was a man of and for the people, LaGuardia Airport. That's who it's named after. And in the play, we have him holding up a picture of his 2 kids, Eric and Jean.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks out at the audience and looks back at the picture and says, kids, don't worry about people knowing you. Make yourself worth knowing.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what you just talked about with that definition.
I mean, I didn't know that about him, but I completely vibe with his perspective. We live right outside LaGuardia High School as so Soviet. So like,
Well, he's a man worth studying.
mm-hmm.
He very long story short, he fought for the suffragettes. His single vote when he was a congressman was that he placed when he was overseas fighting World War I was actually the single vote that got women. It was the margin that got women the right to vote.
Well, see, there you go.
He spoke Yiddish, and became a congressman in the Lower East Side, and actually beat out a Jewish man who didn't even speak Yiddish. I mean, this guy was crazy. It's amazing.
Wow.
He reminds me a lot of you.
Oh God.
Um,
I don't know if I can carry that weight.
Fiorello LaGuardia, thanks for all you do. Kirti, we always like to kick off our podcast with a simple question
Mm-hmm.
that I'd like to ask you before we dive in. To all our new listeners on the podcast, this is a question we have been asking every single day of my life since July 15th, 2015. Way back when I was just a kid who had invented a little bowl of pasta sauce, and I decided to feed it to people to see if it was even good or not, so I hosted a dinner party. I invited 15 of my friends that didn't know each other over to my home and fed them this sauce. We worked together to create the meal, and we had a shared group experience. And halfway through that dinner, at 7:47 p.m., now the name of my cult, we paused and we asked a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
If you, Kirti, could give credit or thanks to one person in your life that you don't give enough credit or thanks to, or that you've never thought to thank, who would that be?
It'd be my daughter. It'd be my daughter because one, I didn't have plan to have a baby when I ended up surprisingly pregnant with her. I don't know why it makes me sad, but because I think she shaped me into a better person. She was a surprise, and she gave me the will to like finish business school pregnant. Then I had a newborn for my second year in business school, and like she was my North Star. She was like the reason I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to work harder. I wanted to like, not because success is a measurement of a better life, but I wanted to be successful so I can afford the right things for her. She's also, you know, really exemplified to me through ebbs and flows in the last near 17 years, because she's going to be 17 soon. That it's not always perfect, but she's taught me the art of forgiveness and not holding grudges. There's so much that I'm thankful for having this surprise little girl. Sorry. I did not expect that reaction.
What's your daughter's name?
Her name is Kieran.
Kieran.
Yeah. Kiran, and not the beer. But Kieran, and there's a story about Kieran too. She was not supposed to be a girl, at least not by prediction of everybody, because I had no idea what I was having. I carried like a boy, they said. And and she came out a little girl, and I had only a list of predominantly boy names that I was going to select from, because everyone was so adamant that I was having a boy. And no, I had a very cute little chunky girl, and I like looked at her, and they were like, "What do you want to name her?" And I had an emergency C-section. I was definitely like not there mentally. Like I was like, "What?" But I just like kind of said, "I want to name her Kieran," and not even realizing when I actually thought about what we named her at the time, that Kieran means ray of light. So it's just kind of interesting how you can't control fate and maybe game time decisions and stuff, but I'm being a little mystical here, but definitely just coincidental.
I don't know if coincidental is the word. I don't think that's the word. I think you can come up with a more mystical word.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was fate. I think it's fate. Often then as she grew up, people would mistaken Kirti Kieran, because both our names are Kir, right? Like it starts the same way. But yeah, this kid has been like my interesting add to my life for sure.
Thank you for going there. Why'd you say it was sad at the beginning?
Oh, well, because she's going to be leaving to college, and this is going to be my last year with her before she leaves next summer. And knowing my child, she is so incredibly intelligent. I don't know how I gave birth to a kid that's, I honestly, way smarter than me and my ex-husband. And he's really freaking smart. So I'm like, how is this kid so smart? And she's caring and loving and wears her emotion on her sleeve. She'll be like a beast when she needs to be, but she'll be like the cool, calm, collected, respectful child. She's a hard worker. Unlike most of perception of Gen Z, Karen has actually been working, creating her own companies or jobs and finding ways to earn money from when she was like a little girl, like 8 years old. And she was like, "Mom, I want to create my own company." And I'm like, "You do? What company is this?" "I'm going to make Bob's business cards. I can design business cards for any business." And I was like, "Who's Bob?" And she like went around to family members saying, "If you pay me $1, I'll design you a card from my very famous Bob's business card company." And I mean, and then from there, it was just this very entrepreneurial, creative kid who like, you know, started her own dog sitting business in our building downtown we were living in, and she made a lot of money dog sitting. And then now she's like currently babysitting, although they call her a tutor. She's technically babysitting an 11-year-old here now on the Upper West Side. And it's just that kind of a go-getter personality that I feel sometimes like taken aback and so proud that despite her having been involved in a divorce, living in a split family situation, you know, I know a lot of friends and even kids that I grew up with who were part of divorced families. They often will, and probably it is true for their experience, but they'll blame the divorce for their mishaps or their bad decision making. um, Karen isn't that. She doesn't do drugs. She doesn't drink. She doesn't go philandering on the weekends. Like a lot of, I know kids that I've seen her grow up with do. Like she makes the right decisions. And I don't know what I did right to deserve that, but I did something right. And sometimes to the point where I'm like, do you really want to hang out with mom? It's Friday evening. Do you want to go to the movie with your friends? She's like, no, I'm fine with you. I saw my friends all week. And it's like it's just really like it's different, Chris, like not something you expect from a New York City kid.
It sounds like fate.
It is fate. There's a lot of because I feel like I have so much gratitude not only for the sweet moments, but even like the messy moments of like when we fight. And we fight. Both of us fight. We have such an honest relationship that we will just be like, don't talk to me right now. Like you are terrible. Or like we're not formal with one another in any way, but we are also very much mother and daughter. There's not this like weird blurred line of like, I'm suddenly her best friend because I'm not, and I never should be. I should be her mother. I should be nurturing her, teaching her, guiding her, fine, taking feedback when I'm like probably being a terrible mom at the moment because no one's perfect at all, as much as they want to claim they might be. Some folks out there, I believe I'm like the anti-perfection believer. I think we can only do so much so well. And if I get 80% the way there, I'm happy because that means I'm still human and I'm not an AI tool either. You've seen that, right, Chris, on I think it's on like LinkedIn or one of those type of social platforms. People are like, if you see a typo in any writing now that's posted,
I purposely do typos sometimes.
and it's like that means AI did not write this.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
They're trying to be 80%. The 80% is what's coming to the top.
I love your 80% rule. It reminds me of my buddy Ben Wright. He founded the fourth fastest growing company in the country a couple years ago. 39,000% 3-year growth. He raised a $400 million Series B, and he looked out at his team and said, press go at 90%. Otherwise, you risk spending 90% of your time figuring out the final 10%.
Yeah.
Of which I then said, progress comes from movement, not perfection.
Yeah.
So my question to you, first of all, thank you. Thank you for talking to me about your ray of light. It has brought a ray of light to you and to our conversation, and what a beautiful place to start today. So cheers to your daughter, and cheers to you for raising her.
Thank you.
When you were talking about your daughter, you talked about how she inspired you to be a better person and to live a better life. You used the word better twice. Now, when I hear words that have an ER at the end, it's insinuating doing something different than you used to be, right? Be a better person is insinuating that you weren't a good person to begin with. That's not true, but I'm just saying in general, and for
Yes.
all of you listening, ER words are a really unique judgment of our past.
Yes,
I
that's
don't want to
true.
ask about the past. I just want to ask you about today, which is, what does it mean to be a good person in Kirti's mind? Like right now, like on the heart,
Yeah.
outside of work, outside of family, like what is your definition of being a good person? Not better.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm happy to compare my past to my current because that has shaped my current state, but I would say for me to be for me to be content with who I am right now, I would say is taking pauses as much as possible. And what I mean by that is in our very busy, rushed, and then how we spend more time at the office than we do probably where we would like to, which is our home or with our family and friends. We're always rushing. We're always chasing. We're always being asked to make decisions in a rush. Being asked for feedback in a moment. Emails have to be replied to in 24 hours. If not, people think you're not working. There's this constant rush. And something that I have been very very cognizant of, frankly, in the last year itself. And this is maybe adding to my previous betterment that I went through is the pause and not just rushing to take action, not just rushing to reply haphazardly, not rushing to make plans that I feel maybe that I can't stay committed to now. And so I have been really practicing this notion of pause.
What does that look like? Like what's in the moment when you feel right, because we respond to the email, we rush from thing to thing because of some kind of like emotion inside of us that's triggering the I better do that or else. Like
Right.
what is that or else? Is that anxiety, imposter, insecurity? Like what is that triggering emotion? And then how do you realize that that emotion's coming up, and what's the first thing, tiny little thing that you do
Yeah.
to initiate that pause?
Yeah. So I would say I definitely get anxiety. Um, I think my anxiety is predominantly the fear of appearing like I'm incapable or I'm going to fail at something, especially in the professional sense. In the personal sense, it is purely anxiety of them, my, let's just say family or friends feeling offended that I don't want to spend my free time with them at that moment. And, and it may, what if it hurts their feelings? Like, cause my past, and that still like is very much part of my DNA, is I really truly deeply care about what people feel and how what I do could make them feel, to the point that I was a very much a people pleaser. And I have shifted from people pleasing to instead finding constructive ways to explain this is why I can't do XYZ, or I need you to help please understand my current situation. And that's been hard for me to adjust to doing, but I have been doing it a lot more consciously the last few years, Chris. And then the work related thing, like the email piece, that is actually something that still gives me anxiety today. Like if something comes into my inbox, because I have a reputation of she will get back to us like ASAP. We know she'll keep this going. And especially having joined the company I'm at right now only a little over a year and a half ago, you want to prove yourself, right? Whenever you go into a new establishment, you don't want them to be like the new lady's here and she's slow to to do anything or respond. So there is that bit of anxiety that certainly is there in terms of I feel like I need to respond quickly because there's all these people copied on this. One, they might think like, why isn't she responding? Number two, why does she not know the answer? Or number three, someone else will answer incorrectly, sabotaging the entire communication that we're managing. So there's all this anxiety. So what I've started to do is I do my typical behavior, which is I will write the response, but then I'm purposely like not sending it. I'm waiting am waiting, just like in the different instances, I'll wait 15 minutes or I'll wait like an hour and then I'll go back. And I am actually finding myself editing those responses, which is telling. So it's been a big learning curve. And I think that, like, look, I'm like, I'm a few years shy of 50 now. And I thought by now I would have like really perfected the art of doing some of these things, but it's just like, again, going back to the start of our conversation, it is quite humbling. You continue learning, right? Like you just, even in these simple instances, I'm not talking about technical learning skills or learning a new software or learning a new product. I'm talking about learning about ourselves. Like I am learning like, okay, Kirti, you need to chill out. Like just take a pause and think about it before you execute on it.
It sounds so novel. Take a
Sounds,
pause.
yeah.
To think. To regain clarity.
Yeah.
Control. Emotion regulation. Think about it.
Yeah.
Edit yourself a few times. And then go. Isn't
Yes.
it funny that 15-minute pause before sending it? It's cool to hear you say you draft the email, which helps clear it from your brain.
Yeah.
But then you pause to let the edits catch up, and then you send an hour later. The hour it took you to do that process drives greater efficiency.
Yep.
Than having sent it in the beginning and then waited for an incorrect response and then corrected the mistake.
Yeah. Or it starts rolling incorrect dialogue because people aren't understanding one another.
It's like the question of how did ship captains, navigate before, there was GPS on the open ocean.
Yeah.
They would have to make sure that they were 0.01 degree off in any direction, and they had to be laser-like precision on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were 1 degree off, that you're landing in Africa instead of Europe.
I know. I watch Below Deck.
No,
I know.
golly.
I understand the precision. That's enough to
So it's cool to hear you say that precision requires pause.
Yes.
That taking a step back and making sure you're not 0.01 degrees off, you're right on par. That helps the journey just keep in line a little bit better than getting off track and course correcting because you went too fast in response.
That's right.
Kirti, I want to summarize a few things and then just kind of wordsmith, word blurb what came out to me because that's what my brain does. I love that when you talk about the shift from people pleasing to like teaching and communicating what you meant, but doing so in an authentic way.
Mm-hmm.
So people pleasing is about having others' voice kind of be heard and yours not. That shift to teaching and communicate how you authentically think and making sure that gets heard in a respectful way. I love that shift. That doesn't mean you're hurting them. That doesn't mean you're hurting yourself. You're just figuring out how to slow down to more effectively communicate. Love that. I love that you said something about reputation.
Yeah.
A question that I had around that you don't have to answer right now, but at what point can people rewrite their reputation? Ooh, you breathed during that one. I'm going to avoid the other things that I wrote down and ask you about that breath right there.
Well, reputation's an interesting area. Well, look, first of all, I said I wouldn't talk about my professional side, but my professional side is all about managing brands' reputations. But it's amazing how when you go to us as human individual level, it is so difficult to shape your reputation, build those deep relationships, be known or not known, what have you. It's to your liking. for the things that maybe you're great at, not great at, whatever. But if you make a mistake, a very bad mistake, it is so hard to recover from that reputation. Whereas like an institution, for instance, can make an error and they can somehow come back from a bad moment. For me, because I so deeply cared about being the person that is, and this is my former past, I want to be likable. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like I would never want to be that daughter, sister, friend, or partner that like, is spoken about in an ill format. And like that piece of it, I think is also a cultural element. Like in the Indian culture, I think we care very much about reputation. And that could be from the career path you chose, the type of husband or non-husband lifestyle you have, like, are your kids good? There's just so much that is culturally that shapes our reputation. And I was unfortunately not looking for this, but I was, one of the first individuals in my family to actually get divorced. That that was hard. That was a hard reputation for me to come back from, where it was like I felt like I was the family's embarrassment because I wasn't arranged with my first husband. Like I met him on my own, own free will. We dated long distance. Then we got engaged. Then we got married. And there were other, I'm not going to mention, complications in the relationship that popped up right after marriage that I tried to save. I couldn't rescue it. And, you know, more than a decade later, we ended up parting ways, but I left with a gift, which was my daughter. And, but like, it was not easy, especially in like the Indian culture. And certainly, um, even in my family, I think to go through this, but it was so eye-opening for me when I opened up and decided to be open about my vulnerable situation with my parents, who I would never want to disappoint. They actually ended up completely supporting me, which was surprising. Like in a way, I was like, God, why didn't I just tell them what was happening for all those years past? Instead, I was trying to protect my reputation that I have everything together. I'm happy. I'm this, I'm that. And it turned out my parents, as much as I maybe thought they were traditional, they were like, we would never want our daughter to be unhappy. And you being unhappy is not good for your daughter. And they were right. So sometimes you have to, like, I don't know, put aside reputation.
Well, first of all, your parents are lovely. I met them at your event.
You did.
And they were lovely, lovely people, and they were so proud of you. And, when you were up there speaking and interviewing and holding court, your family had the phones out and, taking the videos. And it was really cute, cute, cute scene to watch. They were
Yeah,
wonderful
they're very
people.
supportive of all their daughters. They
Oh yeah, your sister's in the food industry, I believe.
yeah,
Chef.
she's a vegan influencer. Full
Um,
time now.
love that. Congrats. Um, I want to ask you about the new version of that fear that you had before. That fear of protecting your reputation stands in the way of you being happy, authentic, and communicating the world what you need to communicate. Um, what is that in your life right now?
I think I've solved that on my personal side. I have spent so much time between my own therapy and um really just opening up my conversation and relationship again with like my parents and my sisters, who I definitely kind of created a barrier back in those days, those former days. I think it's helped me, frankly, that Greg came into my life. he's been like just a really eye-opening addition, one that is, you love your family, we should see them more. You haven't talked to your mom, you should call her. Like, you know, when are we going to go see your sister in Miami, the other one? And he's like almost given me that latitude to want to like have all these relationships at a deeper level again. Um, and I didn't have that partnership prior. So that's been a big shift, right, Chris? Like when you find the right kind of partner who is there for you, advocates for you, can see that maybe you're like actually missing a person or a thing or whatever, and can like say, and like almost see that, identify it, and be like, you should do it. You should go there. You should do this. You should have that. And that's been, I can't like not give him credit for that, because it hasn't been just me alone. Like I've had him in my life the last several years, and he's been a huge pillar for me to lean on.
He's a good man. I want to start landing this ship and start coming around. I asked you a question a few weeks ago as we were preparing for this podcast, and it was quote unquote, what's been something on your heart and mind recently that you haven't talked about publicly?
Yeah. It's funny. I was actually thinking about my daughter, but it's funny. I would say most recently in the last like year or so, what's been really lingering for me, and I don't really talk about this publicly, is Greg and I got engaged now 4 years ago this past September. And we are still not married, although we refer to each other as husband and wife because we live together with our two beautiful kids, and we are very much completely functioning like a married couple. But I have grappled with the fact that the New York State court system, and this whole divorce process has been going on for coming on almost a decade soon. It's still not settled. And I made like peace with that, because we're together, we're living together. Yes, we're dealing with lawyers and stuff like that. That's like a side thing that's there. It's almost like a bad gnat that comes and hovers around the fruit and goes away. But, you know, there was a moment I thought maybe we could have a baby together because we love each other so much. I thought maybe we could like have this beautiful wedding and go to India and like have like family. And that was actually Greg's wish. She was like, could we get married in India, and family from Italy comes there, and I'll meet your whole family, and people from New York come out there. And you know, we were really optimistic about this, and I felt like, oh, we can't call ourselves husband and wife because we're not married. But I think I've been like having a bit of a deeper reflection on this, because I think we've redefined like what commitment is, and it's not identified by a marriage certificate. It is, or traditional milestones of, you get engaged, now you get married, and then you do have a baby, and you have all these things. I feel life may have like closed the door on the picture that I once imagined, but you know, I am really thankful that it's showed me that real love can exist, and it doesn't have to be defined by societal norms.
What a journey.
It's still our journey. I'm still on this journey, still going. Yeah. But, you know, I think we started out talking about the love for my daughter, and I guess we ended talking about the love for having a life partner and finding that. And I know not everyone can, but if you do, you should just do everything you can to hold on to it.
What's coming up for you right now?
Oh, coming up for me
Mm-hmm.
in terms of,
The emotion I see on your face.
oh, it's like tears of joy, but also like a bit of just why does everything have to be so hard? Like, I've been divorced for a really long time, and we're not exactly Brangelina here. Like we should be able to do a simple thing as just have that little wedding and celebrate with people who love us. And it is what it is.
What do you think all of this is preparing you for?
Oh, geez. Walk my daughter down the aisle at some point? No. Um, I think what this actually is real time preparing me for is that material things don't really matter. It's so funny. Like 10 years ago, if you like were at like Kirti, like, what are you going to be doing this evening? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so going to go to that Bloomingdale's trunk show and see what's on sale and go waste all my money that I just made on buying some superficial items. And um, between COVID and also some of the kind of just career ebbs and flows that both Greg and I have been through, we've like recognized like we don't actually need anything but each other and some streaming Netflix, and we're fine. We're good. It's like really taught me that. And so I'm like looking forward to maybe getting that hut on a beach in Mexico that he and I literally talk about all the time as if it's really going to happen, but it might happen. I don't know. We both really like habaneros and guacamole, and he makes damn good margaritas. So
Salt or no salt around the rim?
half salt.
Oh.
We got to keep our sodium levels, in check. So.
I think I just watched an interview with Joe Namath yesterday where he's saying, oh yeah, I brought a salt shaker everywhere. We didn't know about sodium in the 60s. We were just,
Oh my God.
we were just meathead football players. And I was the guy who carried around the salt shaker. Actually, I am on the chapter in this wonderful book about the history of the world through food. And I'm on the salt chapter.
Oh.
And what I've learned is that salt tax was the original tax in the world. The salt tax made up 50% of China's revenue at some point, and that funded the Great Wall of China.
Wow.
Mahatma Gandhi went around, his original protests were going around the country protesting the salt tax. And 60,000 people got arrested for protesting the salt tax. And that's when he did his whole uprising and movement. And salt is a very
Salt's
important thing.
It's a preservative.
But it's in moderation. Anyways.
Yes. Yeah.
What a life you've lived. We started off this conversation talking about fate, not coincidence. The Roman Stoics called it amor fati. Live a life according to fate. Talked about the love of a daughter, love of parents, love of a partner, love of the journey, getting through failure, overcoming anxiety, shifting from people pleasing to teaching and communicate through our authentic voice, what we truly care about and want to see in the world, creating great moments of pause just to connect, to edit, to make sure we're going in the right direction. This could be in life, or this could be with an email. If your daughter was on the call with us right now, what would you say to her to give her gratitude?
Thank you for being difficult. No, I would actually say I'm being funny. That's my sarcasm. No, I would actually say I think thank you for challenging me, because that's what she does. In a good, in all good and complicated ways.
Of course. She challenged you to be a better person, to live a better life. And
Absolutely.
we're all the benefactors of that. Any last words in closing?
No, I think, gosh, this has been a really great discussion with you. I feel so many of the conversations I have in these type of forums talk about, like I was saying earlier, like work or projects or things that, sure, they're great. They've like shaped my strategic thinking, but the things that we got to cover here, I think, frankly, are just, it's timeless and it's meaningful. And actually, in our conversation too, what it also suddenly I was reflecting is recently, after working now professionally for 27 years, the thing that I am actually really thankful for at this point professionally is I've had people who've worked with me or on my teams in the different companies I've had the opportunity to lead marketing at. They have been reaching out to me and asking me for advice and guidance and giving me the opportunity to continue mentoring them. And it has just been really like a beautiful, like kind of circling back in a way, because it's like, okay, this is why I went through what I went through at that company. And this is because it was all about these formidable relationships that you build and how you can help influence their lives, their careers, their next choice. And I feel just a whole sense of gratitude, in terms of that they actually want to come to me and get that type of support. So from that standpoint, that is, I think, also something else that I'm very thankful for.
You put in the work and the results speak for themselves. An honorable daughter, a loving partner, professional success, creative success. You're sitting in front of the YouTube, platinum or silver button for your podcast in the background. Like, you've done some things. And I think it came from, oh, did I just lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh my gosh, my computer, the screen just shut off. I'm back. Oh my gosh, Kali. That's so funny.
I could see you still.
Okay, cool. That's weird. What just happened? Anyway.
No. We
back.
just like dropped them. Instead of dropping the mic, we dropped the screen.
Oh my God. That was so scary. I was like, wait, did we just lose everything? Anyways, folks, you heard a human story. You heard a journey. And you heard a few lessons for success. This was not a business conversation. This was one step above. This was a human conversation. And all of you that are listening to this, that are successful in business, I challenge you to rise up one more level to find success and happiness and resilience and fate in your own personal lives. Because it's what the world needs now. Successful people, not just successful business leaders. And you met one today, a really successful person. I thank you for tuning in. To all the loyal listeners, my DMs are open for your thoughts, questions, comments, and concerns. For all the new listeners, I hope you enjoyed that. I really think you did. As I mentioned, we'd love to have you along for this journey. Click that subscribe button. Share this episode with a friend who needs to double click on what makes them live a good life. It's been an honor, been a privilege to spend this Yom Kippur with y'all here today, leading up to Diwali, the good life. I hope y'all are having a phenomenal day on Earth. Remember, folks, it's your world. Go explore, and we'll see you next episode.